Hello Saber enthusiasts. Today I'm going to do a review of my Crimson Dawn Shade V2 staff, and specifically a lot of the modifications that I've done with this. Um, I definitely love adding my own touches and flares to my sabers. I really think that makes it feel like its own thing, and that is definitely the case on this staff. So one of the first things that you'll notice, of course, are these emitters. So I took a PVC coupler and a small piece of PVC, 1-inch inner diameter, because that's the width of the blade. And I cut this slanted, sanded it down, glued it into the coupler here, and then and then painted this. Now, one of the things that I really love about this finish is this dark silver. It almost feels like, it looks like Beskar to me. So I think for my character's backstory, I'm going to say that this is actually a Beskar hilt. But what I did was I just put a little bit of electrical tape around the actual emitter on the inside here so that there would be a snug fit. And then this is a just a little screw that I had threaded into the coupler and then put all the way in. And then, of course, because the retention screw, the Shade has two, I had to drill just a little hole so that I can kind of remove the blade. Which, of course, as you can see, is a Photon blade. We'll get to that in a moment. But the other thing that I've done is you see that I've got all these little O-rings. And I got two different sizes of O-rings. You see kind of a thicker one right here that butts right up against the emitter, these smaller ones. And I even put some of the smaller ones at the seam. So the emitter screws on right here. So I put one here. This is the midsection. The grip is right here. So I put one right in there as well. So you can kind of see where I put that right at the base of the threads. And the reason I've done that is because that way, there's actually two reasons. So the first reason is just to make sure that these are tight, because I don't want these to be unscrewing at all. So this kind of squishy little O-ring gives some kind of friction in there to prevent this from unscrewing while I'm spinning and dueling and stuff. Then moving down, so I added these thicker. So here's a comparison between those two O-rings. So I just got these at my local hardware store. You can just go in and see whichever ones that you think fit. This is kind of the biggest one that I could find, and then this is just a little smaller. They're stretchy, they fit right over these hilts very well. But then, you know, this right here I wanted to not be as flush. So this is kind of more flush with the hilt. This I wanted to stick out because it gives me some grip and something to feel as I'm spinning. The next thing that you'll notice is that this isn't the normal coupler for the Shade. So actually, let me take this off. So this is the normal coupler for the Shade. And one of the things that I love about this is that because it's the female end here, you know, this is just the regular pommel, and the pommel can double as a coupler. So you get two shades like I did, and then you just take the pommel off one and use the pommel of the other as a coupler, and it will fit together, you know, about like that. But what I didn't like about that is that when you take the pommel off, let me try to get that off. I've got it on there pretty tightly. You know, when you take the pommel off of one to screw into the other, if you wanted to just, you know, be ready and dual wield, your speaker is exposed. So I wanted to kind of avoid that. So what I did on this other one is I actually got the extender piece. So you see from here down is actually the extension, and then I put some AC foam just on the inside of that. So the speaker is actually here, and then I drilled some holes in the extender just so that it would kind of not only match the aesthetic of this, but also to let some of that sound out. I also put a bit of electrical tape there because, as you can see, I have the an O-ring here. Now that O-ring serves a different purpose than the ones at the other hills. That's so that, you know, I can tighten these up as tightly as possible. And when I want to go switch between them, it will come off at that point. So as you can see, when I put these two together, I've got, this is the O-ring for the split, and then this is electrical tape, just to keep that balanced aesthetically. You know, I like it to be mirrored, although when they are apart, the saber with the extension is a little longer. So if you line up the tops, you do see that they're a little longer, but I think that's perfect, especially for dual wielding. Now, typically one's going to be your dominant, and so that would actually be this one. And there you go. So the next visual aspect I want to go over, actually let me put these down, is, you guys might have noticed that little orange reddish piece there. So I love that aesthetic, and all this is a Lego piece. Let me see if I can get a better. I'm not sure if I can get focus on that. But I put a little bit of epoxy putty around there so that it would fit. But what's nice is that there's a wide gap there, so that will actually go around that prong. It doesn't touch the prong, so it doesn't hurt it at all. But that just kind of snugly fits in there. Here's an example of one that doesn't have that putty, just to get an idea of the pieces that you'll need. This is a flat-topped stud from Lego. And then you could probably just put a little bit of electrical tape or something around that, just, you know, a very small piece wrapped around there to get a snug fit. Otherwise, if you don't get anything that'll make it a snug fit, it'll just kind of fall out as you duel. But I like that not only to give a little aesthetic right there, but also to just kind of protect the that recharge port. You know, you typically have these displayed with the buttons up. So just to prevent dust and things from getting in there, I just wanted to add something like that. So next we'll go over the features. So of course these have hibernation mode on it. So I had to just wake that up. Now there's plenty of other videos out there that kind of show some more of the features, but one of the things I want to specifically go over in this video is why I'm using a photon blade. So the photon blade, for those of you that don't know, specifically take blue light waves and convert them into green. So even though these sabers have the full RGB spectrum, anything with blue in it comes out a little green. So really, this saber is now limited to having, you know, green, various shades of green, and then red. Red comes through this, you know, it doesn't affect the wavelength. So I can also get yellow and a very strong red through this. But I miss out on blues and purples, but it's a much brighter green than just the regular green. So this is actually set to that light blue that has both the blue channel and the green channel activated. So that I found is actually one of the brightest settings. Let me turn off the light real quick. So as you can see, this is a very intense green. And let's go through some of the colors. So hold for 2 pulses, and then hold again. And you can kind of see some of the reflection. So there it goes into the yellow. Now there's red. So it's a nice, vibrant red. And then it goes, now this is just the regular green. You can kind of see right here that this is not as intense as the first green that I had. Let's see if we can get to that color. So you see how now it's getting much brighter. That's because it also has the blue in there that activates it. So this is a way for me to get a very intense bright green. But green is the color that I want it to be set at normally. And then, okay, of course, here's white. It kind of looks pale, but there's the blue that I want to set it to. So that's how. That's why I wanted to put this in a photon blade. The other thing that you'll notice. Let me set this. Is that I said that this was a 1 inch, but you see how there's a bit of a gap around here? So normally the blades are 1 inch. I've specifically made a 7/8 inch because these are shorter, as you can see. I did that intentionally. These are 28-inch blades because I have them as a staff and dual wield. And when I have them as a staff together, one of the things that you'll notice is that it is my height. I am 5'10", and this actually is just over 6 feet. Oh, the other advantage to the O-rings, and the reason why I like the O-rings better than timing shims, is that because the O-rings are a little squishy, you see how my buttons aren't quite aligned? All I have to do is twist just a little bit more. And now my buttons are aligned. And it doesn't wiggle, it doesn't try to move at all. It's just basically pressure fit, so I can align the switches, which I specifically want to do because I also have the slanted emitter. So there's a lot about this that I need to align. But for height, if I put this all the way on the ground, move this up real quick. Might not get a good angle on it, but it's a couple inches taller than my height, which I think is perfect for spinning. Now, let's go outside and show you some of that spinning. And as we get started with the spinning, I'm going to go ahead and set this to some music. We're listening to Tupperware Remix Party, the song Top Secret.